Hello and welcome to the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner, along with my co-host, Aliyou. Today we have a very special guest, Fayetteville's Mayor, Mitch Colvin. Welcome, Mitch.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, Mitch, I want to talk to you a little bit about the campaign, okay? The pros and cons of your campaign.
You want this in less than 15 minutes?
Oh, no, it'll take the whole 30
All
minutes.
right, yeah. You know, the campaign, as I look back at it, I've had 3 campaigns and all have been different, but this has been by far the most interesting. And
I agree.
And so the good is that you make your way around the city, you talk to people, and you meet some wonderful people, and you hear about their view of how things are in their life. And so it's interesting that, you know, one segment of the population, you know, it's all about jobs and, you know, I need work, you know, and I need to pay my bills and make it through tough times. And then the other population has different concerns. You know, my leaves are not picked up enough, or you know, my streets need to be repaved. And so that was great. The downside to it with politics comes the mudslinging, and that was very challenging. It you know, it really causes you to stay focused, but what it does, it brings the best out of you, and how you react under pressure, you know. And I think that is a characteristic that needs to be tried to some degree without all of that. But you need to learn how to operate under pressure to do the job.
Okay. And you also must have tough skin, because
have to have thick skin,
yes.
And you can't read every blog, and you can't read what the social media says about you,
or every article
in the paper, and you just got to hold your head up high and know who you are. You know.
Did you always see yourself, well, as a child, did you see yourself wanting to run for office?
No, actually, I sounded just like you. It said I have no interest in public service, in running, being a politician. I really didn't. And in fact, I said it was something I would never do.
Oh, wow.
And so you never say never. And in 2012, 2013, something just kind of started stirring on the inside, and it led me to put my name in the hat.
Nice.
Tell me a little bit about your father. I know he's very influential, and I've heard a lot about him and all.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking. He's, my father's 84, and he's in a nursing home. And he has a little bit of dementia, and but he was a businessman, an entrepreneur spirit. You know, he pulled himself up by his own bootstraps, and ran a construction company. He built a lot of the houses in and around this area and around the city. And you know, he was just a hard worker, and he instilled in us early the values of working. And in fact, you know, he would tell us the story that he told his boss that he was 16 when he was actually 14, just to get the job and to start working and starting to take care of himself. And so I learned a lot from him, and I feel like he's blazed every trail that I'm walking now, and real appreciative to him and my mother for their contribution in my life.
What is the best piece of advice that your father's given you?
It was that, you know, he had a saying that money didn't grow on trees, and hard work never killed anybody. And so that is kind of a driving principle that, you know, that you take care and value what it is that you work for, because, you know, it's not endless, the resources and your access to them. And he also, you know, instilled to me that, you know, if what you have is because you work hard for it, and it will not kill you. You know, it may make you tired, may make you a little fatigued, but it won't kill you.
You have 3 daughters, so
right.
What kind of advice do you give them?
Same, you know, and that, particularly the money doesn't grow on trees comment, but they don't listen to that part. But yeah, no, I'm so blessed with my girls. I'm very proud of each one of them. My oldest daughter is she's finishing her master's degree, getting in a medical science master's degree program in Mississippi. She's a graduate of Hampton, and she wants to go to dental school, and I'm fully supporting her doing that. My other daughter's a junior at Howard University, and she would like to go to law school at the conclusion of that, and so I'm hopeful she can do that. And my 13-year-old is ambitious just as her other 2 sisters, and so I'm blessed with them, and all three have different personalities. And in fact, one of them, all of them came through
W.T. Brown.
W.T. Brown,
Yes.
and that's where all the values were instilled. And
his baby girl went to my school a couple years ago, so I was her principal.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
This question is for both you as a person and you as a politician. What do you want your legacy to be?
Interesting question. Definitely want to make sure I've had an impact, a positive impact in my tenure. And so on a personal basis, I want to make sure that anything I've been a part of is better than when I found it. And I take that as a guiding principle even in my business. And same thing on the political side, that that my neighborhood or my city is transformed in a positive way because of my journey through here. And so I hope that that's the case.
Okay. I want to talk about Murchison Road.
All right.
Yes.
The Merc.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Merc.
That's home for me. It's very, I have a very strong emotional attachment to Murchison Road. I have seen it change over the years, but it hadn't changed enough to where I'm satisfied. But now it appears that there's a little light at the end of the tunnel. I'm very excited about some of the opportunities and the projects that are being discussed and even planned and funded. There's an opportunity with the university to make a $10 million investment across the street over here. And so the university needs a wellness and fitness center. The city needs a senior center and also a health-related center. And there's an opportunity for us to collaborate and do it together. So the university has $5 million, the city has $5 million, and we'll have a $10 million facility. We have about $25 million in parks and rec projects that are funded. The taxpayers passed the bond, and so I'd like to see some of those projects land over here on Murchison Road to kind of invigorate the community. And so I'm excited about it. That is one part of it. I would like to, I was very pleased with the fact that the crime over here, despite of the reputation, in spite of the stigma that goes along with the name, is at its lowest point in 15 years. I bet.
Great.
And so, in fact, it was one of the lower numbers of incidents in the city back last year in 2017. I'm very happy about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any plans to work with the police department?
Well, yeah, certainly. We were blessed to get Chief Gina Hawkins from the Atlanta area. She's the chief, and I think she's doing a great job. She's got vision as to where we need to go. We work closely together to make sure that we fund them and give them the resources that they need to keep the city safe and keep it thriving. And I talk to her all the time about any challenges that I see that we need to pay particular attention to. What I really like about it is that our police department, I would say, has improved relationships with the community compared to what we're seeing nationally, to where there's a distrust or tension between the community and particularly the young black males or minorities and the police. And so fortunately we haven't had that as an issue here in the city, and that's because of the leadership over there.
Speaking of young black males, Mayor, do you go out and speak with the youth and spend time with them and mentor them, the young black males?
Yeah, absolutely. I get out as much as possible and speak to our youth, and particularly the young black men, and anyone that paid attention to the campaign. All of my past was brought up, which you regret some of the mistakes you made, but they had a purpose, and the purpose is that I can relate to people, and maybe if you've made a mistake or you've done some things, I can talk in a way that they understand and can relate to it. And I would like to see youth mentoring programs started here, and I've talked to some of the other leaderships in the city and possibly on council to get something like that going.
Yeah, I've always said that our young black males, they need the older black male positive role models,
Right.
because of course we know how we don't want them to be, but we need, people like you and other professional black men to mentor and reach out to them as well. See, they're so used to a black female talking to them, that black mother or, that black principal, but we need you all, of course, to encourage and uplift and, spend some time with them.
You're right. I mean, I absolutely agree that as great as the females are, that they really can't speak to all levels of how it is to be a male and how it is to be a young black male. And they are really nationally, and I'm not speaking about the city of Fayetteville, but just it's very difficult to be a young black male in this day and time, because you have other young black men that a large percentage of the confrontations come from that. You have the issues with the police, and then you just have the general barriers of society. So you need people, and any time I have an opportunity to play a positive role in it, I'm all for that.
I'm sorry. Okay. Earlier you talked about how you wanted to bring jobs or bring more companies and attract them into Fayetteville area. Is there any specific categories that you're targeting?
Yeah, we have a number of sectors. We had a consultant team come in the year before I got on council, and they told us that the areas or the sectors that we were good at, that we had the perfect fit for. We have one of the youngest populations out of our 5 municipal peer cities because of the youthfulness of Fort Bragg. And so I think our average age here, maybe 32 or 35. And so there's a great population for that. You have the highly skilled workforce of the military, the veterans. And then you have our local homegrowns that are a very good asset. And so sectors like defense, contracting, defense contracting, as the military expands its services, they'll need defense contractors. And it showed that we had a lot of room for growth in that department. I would also think that our close proximity on I-95, we're 83 miles from Wilmington Port, and we have an airport with the right investment that could be a regional hub, puts us in a good position for logistic companies. So companies that need to move goods and services, goods around throughout the country. And I think that we have not really explored and taken advantage of that. But there are several sectors that fit us well.
Nice. Do you want to go?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, you talked, excuse me. You talked about bringing in, I'm sorry, about bringing in logistic companies and stuff. But what about, you also talked about this earlier, the veteran and things. So do you have any plans to help support the veteran? Or I realize some veterans, once they leave the military, it's hard for them to get back on their feet or to find a job or anything. Do you have any comment towards that?
Yeah, I mean, we have roughly 6,000 to 7,000 folks exiting the military a year from Fort Bragg, and so a number of those people leave our community, but there's a population that stays, and I think that we need to make it easy for them to transition. As a business person myself, I would like to see some programs that enhance the ability for those veterans leaving that want to start businesses to be able to start that. It would be great if Fayetteville was a launching pad for entrepreneurs, former military entrepreneurs. In the military, they learn a skill set, and that skill set can be packaged into some type of business, I think. And so I think that we need to enhance the capabilities and the opportunities. Now, I sponsored a bill called local participation, to where the city has a goal of spending 40% of every dollar, that $10 to $12 million a month I tell you about, with local and minority companies, which include veterans. And so, the classification for small and disadvantaged business veterans are a subset of that. And so I think that that makes it more attractive for veterans to start businesses here.
Now, Mayor, I know you have a very busy schedule. What do you do in your free time, your downtime?
It seems to the amount of it available time gets less and less, but I spend time with my daughter. I enjoy that, the one that's here, and I really take heart to that. And I try to travel a little bit. Sometimes you just need to get out and be able to just be somebody that no one recognizes, and just be able to fit into the crowd and just kind of wear my flip-flops and shorts and do what it is that other people do. And then I like to play golf when I have an opportunity to do that.
Are you a pretty good golf player?
Well, it depends. I wouldn't say great, but I'm average. I can hold my own, I think.
Okay. Well, once again, I would like to thank you for being a guest on the Bronco Exchange. Thank you, Aliyou, for being my co-host. And thank you, viewing audience, for viewing the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner.
Stranger, stranger, wait, hold up, don't run, I don't bite. Stranger, got me so very much hypnotized. Familiar, stranger, stranger, wait, hold up, don't run, I don't bite. Stranger.